All right, time now for your fan weather forecast brought to you by Utke Heating and Cooling. 73 degrees right now, fair skies, looking fine for the rest of the evening, a low of 57.
Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Fifer, served up by Wendy's on 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan. Download the Wendy's app today.
I don't know how some people do it. I don't. I really don't. Look at my phone. Look at this. All these different notifications. My 18-year-old has notifications, I swear to God, for every app on his phone. Oh, I didn't get your text message. Well, that's because you got a million notifications. How could you possibly have seen that the text message came through? I mean, I'm just looking at mine. Email, Disney Plus, Class Dojo, Fantasy Sports, calendar reminders, the band app for like Cub Scouts, voicemails. Oh my goodness.
You can turn some of those off. Like, you don't have to have them on. You can put your phone on silent for a little bit.
Well, you can't hear it vibrate because it's on the, see, look at this here. Show this here. Look at that. You can get one of those too when you come to Callie's Bleachers on Blue Mound on Monday. Thanks to Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea. We'll be out there with the leadoff show with Tommy Wirtz on Monday night. So come hang out with us. Speaking of Tommy Wirtz, fan post-game show not happening tonight, tomorrow, Friday, because we have everybody's favorite Tommy Wirtz talking about the Milwaukee Brewers in our fan playoff preview show tonight. Him and Andrew Wagner running things tonight from 5 until 6. So again, fan playoff preview show, night 2 of 4 coming up tonight, 5 to 6. Make sure to tune in for that one. Trevor Thomas, Inside Wisconsin Sports, co-host of Josh Albrecht. You hear them weekday mornings from 6 to 9. Very well received. You get so many compliments on that show on a day-to-day basis about how people like that show. Learned something very interesting about Trevor Thomas today, so we'll talk with him coming up here in about 15 minutes. Charlie Sounds of the Day brought to you by Prize Picks. That comes up at 3:40. I want to get back to the Brewers here, as the Brewers are chilling, waiting to see if they play the Cubs or the Padres coming up on Saturday for that first game. If you did not hear, Adam McKelvey tweeted out earlier today the scenarios. So their time will depend on whether or not they play the Yankees or whether or not they play the Red Sox. If they play the Yankees, it's going to be not if they play the Yankees. If the Yankees win that series with the Red Sox, the Brewers will play at 1 o'clock at American Family Field. If the Red Sox win that series, and they won game 1 behind Crochet, if they win that series, then the Brewers won't play till 8 o'clock at night on Saturday night. And if you look ahead to Monday night, I think there is a good chance that they're the second game Monday night. So that could be like an 8:30 or so start on Monday night. It could be a late game on Monday night.
That's so weird. I feel like I know like Monday Night Football takes a lot of precedence. You're trying to find ways to go around that. It's all about protecting the
East Coast.
It's trying to find ways to go around that and make sure, like you said, the East Coast has the best time.
Because if it's Brewers Padres, 8:30 is fine. 9 o'clock is fine because that's like 7 o'clock San Diego time.
Care about the Midwest a little bit. We're people too, MLB.
Yeah, but think about it. But if it affects an East Coast team and they can't start at 9 o'clock at night on the East Coast or 10 o'clock at night on the East Coast,
I mean, they can.
They won't. No chance. No, don't see it happening. But again, we'll see. We know official time's out for Monday yet, but that is the scenario for Saturday. So we'll see how that goes. Cubs still losing 1-0 to the Padres, top of 4. Imanaga against Cease is that pitching matchup down at Wrigley Field. What's the biggest question you have for the Milwaukee Brewers heading into the playoffs? Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel did like a roundtable discussion of guys having that conversation, right? So Kurt Hogue, J.R. Ratcliffe, Todd Rosiak, all giving their thoughts on what they think the biggest question is going into this postseason. What would it be for you? Nikolai Law, fan talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. You can also use Facebook or Twitter at The Fan Milwaukee. Sound off with a recorded voice message on the Odyssey app. It's real simple and easy to use. For me, the biggest question going into this is simply going to be whether or not this starting pitching can be what you need it to be. And by that, I mean, can you give this team 5 to 6 innings of 2 or less runs per game? I don't need Freddie Peralta going 5, giving up 4. That's not going to be good. Can't have Brandon Woodruff going 5, giving up 4. And I definitely can't have Quinn Priester going 5, giving up 4. They consistently need to be 5 innings, 1 run, 6 innings, 2 runs, something along those lines. You need all 3 of those guys to do that to give you a chance to win. We said earlier in the show that realistically, if this offense gives you 4 or 5 runs a game, that should be enough to win the series and move on to the next round. Now, you may need more than that against Philadelphia, but from the perspective of what you need in this next round against the Cubs or the Padres, I think 4 or 5 runs is doable for this Brewers offense. I think they can give up 4 or 5, or they can go get 4 or 5 runs per game in a series. My thing is, can these 3 Brewers starters do what they need to do and hold it down between Peralta, Priester, and Quintana, right? God, it would be nice to have Woodruff. But Peralta, Priester, and Quintana, can you get through it by giving up, 5, 6 innings, 1 or 2 runs? That's where my question is. I don't worry about the back end of the pen. I feel like there's enough offense here that they're going to be fine there. Enough guys that can hurt you in a lineup, which in previous versions of this Brewers team over the last 5 or 6 years has not been the case, where it's like 2 or 3 guys you fear, and then the rest of the line, you're like, we can feel pretty good about getting through the rest of these guys. I don't think you can say that with this Brewers lineup this year. And as they've been talked about all year as being the most well-rounded team in baseball. That's been the label put on them. The question has been all year, do they have enough power? And if they don't hit home runs and they lose a series, then it's going to be justified, and people are going to say you can't do it that way. You can win the regular season, that's nice, but if you don't have enough power in the playoffs, you're going home. And they're going to use the Brewers as the example. Now, if the Brewers don't hit a lot of home runs and they continue to advance, they're going to blow that notion up and maybe change how people build their baseball teams going forward. You laugh. Charlie laughed and smirked, but Golden State changed how you build lineups. Golden State changed how you built rosters. Golden State changed how the NBA plays basketball after winning a title. They changed it all. That was them. The Phoenix Suns, they tried doing this, shoot a bunch of shots left and right back in the day with D'Antonio. They tried. Steve Nash and Amari Stoudemire, but they never could finish. Golden State showed you how to play defense and shoot the hell out of the ball and win. And now you've got everybody shooting like 43s a game, and it's ruined the NBA, in my opinion. But either way, that's what they do. Fine. If the Brewers win this thing, playing the style they've played all the way through, I'm telling you, people are going to have second thoughts going into the offseason as far as roster construction. And if they want to start leaning towards more guys that have some speed, leaning towards more guys that are more contact hitters versus just power hitters that strike out a lot, I think it changes a lot, Charlie.
But I also feel like you're starting to see a lot more players have top-end speed.
Yes.
Just across the MLB. So I feel like there's already this kind of push to get there. I think
the Reese Hoskins are going to be extinct.
I think the Brewers are just a little bit of ahead of the curve. But I don't think the Reese Hoskins are all going to be extinct, because guys like Andrew Vaughn are showing you that their bats can still be extremely important in lineups without being fast.
But you have to hit it. You're going to have to hit with average now.
You have to be able to.
It's no more 205 and it's no more 205 and 30 home runs. Those guys are going to be out. If they win, if they don't win it, and they get bounced right away. Then everybody's gonna be like, that's nice for the regular season. You'll never win one without power.
Yeah,
that's what's going to be.
The Yankees go on to win it with Giancarlo Stanton hitting 3 home runs and then
and Judge and all those guys.
Exactly.
Yes.
Well, Judge hits for contact too, but like that style of player that you're talking about, Stanton. I don't know. This is something that I think the Brewers can catch lightning in a bottle here and make some magic happen. And like you said, can change kind of the course of the way people are building their teams. At the same time, the way the money flows right now, I think it's just about getting the most talent possible if you have the money for that. I don't know if he changes the mind of like the Dodgers.
What's the biggest question that you have for the Brewers going into this divisional round matchup? Padres up 1-0 on the Cubs here in the 4th inning down at Wrigley. Nicolay Law Fan Talk and text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. Facebook and Twitter at The Fan Milwaukee. Trell Northside, you're next up on The Fan. What's up, Trell?
Hey, what's going on? I'm not going to lie to you, Sparky. Going into the playoffs with the Brewers, I'm a little nervous because to me, the Brewers have not been playing a really good brand of baseball for at least a couple of weeks now. And I think a thing that has kind of been great for this team is they've had they seized the moment when it comes to momentum. So I think my biggest question for this team is, do they have a flip switch? That's what I'm concerned about. If they have a flip switch, there'll be no worries. If they don't, and it was lightning in the bottle for them to overtake first place, get ahead and just, get that momentum, and now they kind of run out of momentum now, and they're just going through the motions type baseball team, Milwaukee, we have a problem.
That euchre magic. They need that euchre magic back.
Yeah, so I'm in between that. I'm in between. I think this is team of destiny with the euchre thing, and I'm also in between. Is this the same type of Brewers team where we have a really good regular season, then we get in the playoffs, we get bounced right away? And I swear I do, because it would kill me this year if they didn't seize the moment this year. But I'm looking to see if they got that switch. I think they do. I think they got some really clutch players. So we'll just wait to see what happens this weekend.
I'm interested to see myself. Trell, thanks for the call. I appreciate it. That's the other part about it. I think you can take a lot away from game one as far as where do the breaks go, right? If they go against Milwaukee and it goes for the Cubs or the Padres and they aren't getting the breaks and it goes the other way and you lose, then maybe you start thinking, oh, man, all right, this is kind of like how the season in the last couple of weeks. But if all of a sudden you hit a couple slow rollers and balls are going down the right field line and everything's going your way, then you're like, okay, this is how it was when we were winning, right? They make an error. We hit a home run after that with 2 outs to take advantage of that error and pounce in on those runs. They make an error. You hit in double play and you don't take advantage of it and you don't pick up that run. Then it's, man, can't have that. And that is a great point by Trell that when you look at that 14-game winning streak, it was because they were taking advantage of situations. The other team made a mistake. The Brewers made them pay almost every single time with a big hit that followed that up. And when things aren't going right for the Brewers, or they're playing 500-ish baseball, you don't take advantage of those mistakes nearly as much. And that's what's made that run, the euchre magic run, so good, Charlie.
That's what I was talking about before when I was saying that the Brewers are so good, like you said, of taking advantage of these mistakes. But then when teams start taking advantage of the mistakes the Brewers make, it almost seems like the Brewers freak out because that's what they're supposed to be doing. And they try to overcompensate and try too hard to force the other team to make mistakes instead of just letting it happen naturally and then taking advantage when it does. You can't win baseball games that way because when you are trying to force things like that, you are only going to hurt yourself eventually. And you saw that a little bit in the last month here where teams that I think the Brewers thought they should be much better than, teams like the Cardinals, teams like the Reds, who were playing better than I think the Brewers expected them to, started taking advantage. And the Brewers didn't like that, but then they didn't know how to just stay calm and take advantage of the next mistake instead of trying to force mistakes.
He is Charlie Usin, C. Sparky. Fifer coming up next. We will check in with Trevor Thomas, Inside Wisconsin Sports co-host from the morning show, 6 to 9 here on The Fan. Him and Josh Albrecht do a great job every single morning. And we'll check in with him and get his thoughts on the Brewers, get his thoughts on the Packers. And the main reason I'm having on is to discuss something that he revealed today on the show, or somebody else revealed today on the show, that has everybody talking for the rest of the day about what Trevor Thomas said. That's coming up next. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the 1250 AM at 105.7 FM, the Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. Welcome back. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the 1250 AM and 105.7 FM, the Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. Charlie Usen is over there, other side of the glass. Let me tell you about Wendy's. Mornings can all start to feel the same. So if you're looking for a fresh wake-up call, look no further than Wendy's Breakfast. Try a breakfast Baconator with fresh cracked eggs and crispy bacon, a grilled sausage breakfast burrito, or maybe even a honey buddy. And don't even think about sleeping out Wendy's seasoned potatoes and English muffin sandwiches. Doesn't matter what you go for. It's going to change your life. Okay, well, it'll at least freshen up your morning. Ready for a fresh wake-up call? It's got to be Wendy's. Joining us now, you hear them weekday mornings as part of Inside Wisconsin Sports from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. with Josh Albrecht. He joins us on the FanGuest Hotline, powered by Gruber Law. He is Trevor Thomas. Trevor, thanks for coming on, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, good morning. Thanks for waking me up from my nap. I appreciate it. Good to see you too, Spark.
Oh, man, I never took naps when I did mornings, man. Are you kidding me?
I didn't get one today. No worries. No worries. I'm good.
No, man. I used to go out to the bar, sleep in my car, come back in, and do the show at 5 a.m. in about 4 hours. Yeah.
Wow, good for you.
No, not really. No, it was not a good way to live life back when I was like 24, 25. It was not smart at all. Okay, Trevor, so I was listening to the morning show today.
Yeah.
And I almost crashed my car when I was listening to the morning show today. And I had told Charlie, using my producer, Charlie, I'm having Trevor on for you. Because Charlie is a guy that we call Chicago Charlie. And the reason we call him Chicago Charlie is because his dad, who I got to meet at the Napa Auto Car Care Fair this last Saturday when Charlie and Jack Pembroke were out doing the show at the Napa Parts Store up here on Highway 100. His dad was out. So I had a chance to talk to his dad. Well, his dad grew up in like Wrigleyville, right? Down in Chicago. Mm-hmm. So he brainwashed this poor child. So Charlie is a Cubs fan, a Bears fan, and a Bulls fan, but has admitted to us that growing up in Brookfield and playing at Brook Central and then going on and playing college football, that he went to Brewers games and went to Bucks games, that his dad took him to both. So he is kind of a Brewers fan and kind of a Bucks fan as well, but absolutely out on the Packers. That's a no-go for him and his father.
All right.
Okay, fine. We have Rami Makloff, right? 9 to noon with John Kuhn and Rami Makloff. He is a well-documented Bears and Cubs and so forth, but he's from Illinois. So, okay, fine. It is what it is. We'll deal. We've been dealing with that crap since 2005 with Rami. So that is what it is. But
I don't like where this is trending. I
gotta say, man, you and I talked like for a half hour yesterday about stuff, and I'm listening this morning, you and Josh. I didn't see the Cub thing coming, man. I didn't see it. Charlie is smiling and clapping and nodding his head.
Ridiculous.
Clapping.
This is absolutely
He's very
ridiculous.
excited. Listen, you do a show called Inside Wisconsin.
I'm not a Cubs fan.
It's not Inside Illinois or anything like that. It's Inside Wisconsin, man. What is going on? I'm gonna shut up for a little bit. I'll talk again, but I shut up. I want you to set up the story about how you got tied into possibly being a Cubs fan, which you now deny, but just set up what led to this, please.
I grew up in Jefferson, Wisconsin. And
not Jefferson, Illinois.
No,
Wisconsin.
Not Jefferson, Illinois.
Okay.
Jefferson, Wisconsin.
Right.
The cable provider when I was a kid, the only baseball that was on TV was WGN. And so I grew up watching the Cubs and was a sports card collector. And so I followed good baseball players. The Cubs had a couple back then, right? So did Seattle, if you might remember. This guy named Ken Griffey Jr. Or the White Sox with Frank Thomas. So I didn't grow up a Cubs fan. I just happened to watch the Cubs on TV more than any other baseball team because that's the way my childhood was. And I mentioned Bozo the Clown this morning.
Oh, I related to that. I watch Bozo every morning. I'm in on Bozo. I'm with you.
So on summer break, when I'm chilling at home by myself, the Cubs games were on WGN. I am not a Cubs fan. I am a Brewers fan through and through.
So you watch Cub fans through how many summers? And what age did you determine that you were rooting for the wrong team? When did this happen?
Okay. I was 10 years old or younger, and I wasn't rooting for
did the Brewers fans threaten to beat you up if you didn't start rooting for the Brewers, or what happened?
You got to be honest. The Brewers were only on the radio when I was a kid. I rarely saw them on TV.
Wait a second. How old are you?
42.
Okay, man, wait. No. That's not true. I'm 49, man. The Brewers used to be on channel 18 and 24 back in the day and so forth. Now, again, I didn't live in Jefferson, so I don't know what y'all had.
Thank you.
But
Okay.
here, locally, it was on, not cable either.
No, it just was the most often game on TV was the Cubs game. It was WGN. Yeah.
So
I didn't grow up at.
So when I grew up, we had WGN as well. I grew up in Kenosha, so I'm stuck right there on the border of Illinois. Lots of Chicago fans moved to Kenosha to avoid taxes and stuff in Illinois. So when I grew up, my dad, who worked in Skokie, Illinois back in the day at a car dealership for years, he was a Cubs fan because for multiple reasons. One, a lot of them came in and bought cars at his dealership and so forth, so he got to know some of these guys. Two, it was on WGN, so he could watch the Cubs whenever he wanted to. And then the Brewers at that point were in the AL with the White Sox. So the White Sox we hated. The Cubs we didn't really care about because we never faced the Cubs, and God knows neither one was going to the World Series. So that was never an issue. Then when the Brewers moved over in the late 90s to the NL, my dad about lost his mind and said, oh no, now I got to pick between these two. And my dad never picked. My dad kind of still roots for both of them, which is craziness in my mind at this point.
I want to be clear. I do not root for the Cubs.
But
I
Trevor,
simply acknowledged a couple good players this morning, and this has taken a turn.
Yes, but see where I struggle with this is, Charlie, this morning when him and Josh were going back and forth, and Josh was in his glory because Josh was eating up. People were texting in. At one point, Trevor said on the air to one person, I will cut you. He said it on the air. I don't know who the dude is, but I'd be running and hiding. Trevor is a big dude. Don't want to mess with Trevor. But anyhow, I've never heard Trevor like that. I was like, whoo, this is a different side of Trevor. I did see that one coming. I did not see that. But this is where I got a little bit concerned. As a Brewers fan, you kept saying the same thing, which was, I'm a baseball fan. I'm a baseball fan. I told Josh, I go, that's the wrong answer. The correct answer should have been, I'm a Brewers fan. I hate the Cubs. Screw the Cubs. When you say you're a baseball fan, that leaves you free and clear of being attached to kind of anybody at this point and really having hate or dislike towards anybody when you just casually say, I'm a baseball fan. Like you say, hey, I'm a baseball fan. I live in North Dakota. I understand. You don't have a team. You could be a baseball fan, right?
I'm just talking about when I was a kid.
Well, what about now?
Now I am a huge Brewers fan. I only cheer for the Brewers ever. As a matter of fact, just a little bit ago, the Padres went up 1-0.
Yes.
And I texted Josh, hey, 1-0 good guys. And he goes, well, I didn't know there was good guys. I thought it was only baseball. Here we go. I am not a Cubs fan. Listen, I just have childhood memories of Mark Grace and Andre Dawson and Ryan Sandberg. But I watched those guys, just like Frank Thomas and Ken Griffey Jr. and all the other players that played when I was a kid. Sports Center was my life. Literally every single morning watching baseball highlights. You couldn't get them any other way. That was how we all took in sports. I went to games as often as my family could at County Stadium. I have fantastic memories. Bob Betts is one of the guys that inspired my want to be in front of a microphone along with Uke. The Brewers were what they were back then, but it was never a doubt that I was a Brewers fan, and
they were crap is what they were.
They weren't good. Yeah. And their logo, that M and the B, you know which one I'm talking about?
With the barley or whatever. That didn't bother me. I know it bothered a lot of other people. The blue and the green or whatever they had going on.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I remember the logo.
No, I wasn't a Cubs fan. I just grew up watching the Cubs. So it wasn't like I was rooting for the Cubs. I just didn't have a reason to hate the Cubs when I was a kid. I have all sorts of reasons now.
You do understand what it sounds like when you say, I'm not a Cubs fan, but I grew up watching the Cubs. Like, if you just pull that out and put that to the side, people are like, oh, come on, dog. You watched the Cubs for 7 years. I don't know. But listen, I believe you. I'm with you. I believe that you're a Brewers fan, and that is great. So Brewers, Cubs, if that is what happens coming up next. So, like, are you going to be like all in, screw the Cubs, all of that stuff?
My life is all in screw the Cubs. I've never, ever once wanted to.
I'm just saying, as a Brewer fan, I expect to hear from Charlie. I know I'm going to hear from that idiot Rami. I do not want to hear if the Brewers lose 3-2. Well, it was a good baseball game. I don't want to hear that. As a Brewers fan, I want to hear that. We lost. There was nothing good about it. Like, I hated everything about it. They lost. That's the type of stuff. as Josh would say, a realist, whatever.
Yeah,
That's the stuff that drives me crazy.
I'm gonna say
I'm
it's
not-
a good game so many times. Or
Yeah.
it was
because
just awesome. Just love
you
watching it.
you
Yeah.
know you want to poke at me every day, Charlie. I get that.
My
Trevor's a real
problem
nice
right now
guy.
is that there are at least 3 different stories all being sucked into one story at this moment. We were talking about baseball when I was a kid and how I was a baseball fan. We were talking about how Josh does not want to play the Cubs in the NLDS.
Nor do I.
I don't have that feeling. I actually would like to end the Cubs playoff run. Bring them on.
That would be great. But as you were saying this morning, you hate the fans. I don't want to deal with the fans in this town, 3 times possibly if it goes 5 games.
I'm willing to deal with the fans to eliminate the Cubs. And I think it would be very good baseball. There was something that just happened in the game where a Cubs guy got very frustrated. So sad.
Pete Crow Armstrong. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hurt my feelings too. All right. So when we talk about this series, Brewers, Cubs, it happens, whatever the case may be. I'm going to ask you the question we asked in the last segment. What is the biggest question you have for the Brewers heading into the playoffs?
Josh and I talked about how you cannot fall asleep just because the last 39 games went 19-20. In early to mid-May, right? They were something like 24-28, and then they went on that entire streak. So I don't understand why playing average baseball the last 40 games, 500 baseball for lack thereof, a couple games under, whatever. Why does that scare everyone?
Because they saw August.
Well, but the team is capable of all the things they did in the season. And I personally believe they're playing coy. I think they let their foot a little off the gas by design. They stopped playing what I call small ball Brewers baseball. They did not necessarily run the bases the way they were. They switched up the pitching. Some guys went on the IL that I would argue would not have gone on the IL had it been the playoffs. I truly believe they went out to such a huge lead that they had no reason to give 110% like they did in that 14-game win streak or the 11-game win streak or the 8-game win streak. And that was my point this morning. I think it's going to be just fine. They are the best team in baseball. It's not, the stats don't say, well, who was the best team in baseball this past weekend? It doesn't matter. They're the best team in baseball. Let's keep treating them and believing in them like they're the best team in baseball. They're going to be just fine.
Eddie Vedder. I can't stand that dude. Pearl Jam Eddie Vedder. God,
why don't you like Eddie Vedder?
They just popped up on TV. I've never heard a good story involving Eddie Vedder with anybody I've ever met that's actually met the guy in person. Like, never have ever heard anybody have a good interaction, but whatever. Hey, one other thing I want to point out on behalf of you, Trevor, that you got a ticket for Josh for game 1, and then he steamrolled you in that way. That's pretty harsh. That's pretty harsh.
I don't think I've forgotten that.
That's
As a
pretty
matter
harsh.
of fact, some of my buddies are sending me these god-awful W flags since this morning's show, and I don't know that I'll ever be able to forgive Josh for that.
We used to have, I don't know what happened to it. We used to have an L flag that we had hung up on the wall here in the studio. So instead of a W flag, it was blue and white, and it was a big L that we hung up in the studio.
There is a guy in my neighborhood. Don't know who lives there, but he's got a flagpole. And on the top, the United States flag, and right below it, a Cubs flag. There is a group of us that will, in the middle of the night, go fly the L on that guy's flag without having any conversation about it. And I will blame all my neighbors before I take the fall.
Oof.
I'm not a Cubs fan. Can we just put that to bed, please?
I don't think it's going to go to bed, but either way, it made for a very entertaining thing. I don't think you're a Cubs fan, no, but it was a lot of fun this morning, and I was like, I need to get him on to continue to have this conversation.
Well, thanks.
So, yeah, no, that was good. I enjoyed it. Trevor Thomas, Inside Wisconsin Sports. Him and Josh Albrecht, weekday mornings from 6 to 9. Follow him on Twitter at Trevor Thomas IW. Did you think this was why you were coming on today? Did you know? Or
Oh, yeah. I had a feeling. I mean, respectfully, I haven't been asked quite yet to come and chat with you, but I knew the morning blew up. Josh had told me that there was some conversation about whether I was a Cubs fan or wasn't I, and then you wanted to continue the I prepped myself.
All right, buddy. We will be listening tomorrow morning 6 to 9 here on The Fan. Thank you, sir.
We'll see you then.
There he is, Trevor Thomas, checking in Inside Wisconsin Sports. That really is a fun show. I'm telling you right now, that is a really, really fun show. If you haven't had a chance to listen to it yet, It is good stuff for sure. Coming up next, Charlie Sounds of the Day, brought to you by Prize Picks, Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Padres on top of the Cubs 1-0, top of 5. Sparky here. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the 1250 AM at 105.7 FM, The Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Man, oh man, oh man, oh man. What do we have here? Manny Machado, a 2-run jack! Ava Imanaga, 3-0 Padres. And I was cheering. I was like, yeah, all right, here we go, Machado. Charlie goes, you do realize you're cheering for Manny Machado. I was like, I don't give a bleep. I don't want to face the Cubs. That's fine with me. See ya.
Loser mentality.
You fine with whatever you want. I will accept whatever tag you want to throw on me. I don't want to face them. I don't want to deal with their fans. I'll deal with Padre fans if they come show up in Milwaukee. That's fine. I want that dude on TV, the trader, send his bags packing. He can go back home to Whitefish Bay, get on his couch, and watch the Brewers play the next series. Hell, he can even go to American Family Field and watch him if he wants with his family.
If the Brewers beat him in the playoffs, do you think he'd come on the station again? Think we could get him back on the station right after this?
I don't
cheer
think
on the Brewers.
I don't think it'll matter. He'll come out with Mitch.
Okay,
him and Mitch are boys.
That'd be perfect. Like right after the Brewers beat him.
Him and Thunder are boys. I bet you in the next year he'll be on the station with Thunder. Right. He's already been on the station.
Well,
once.
I just mean like directly after the Brewers beat him. You know, like being like.
Well, maybe not that fast. Maybe not that quickly after. But yeah, I mean, yeah, he'll be on the station. He won't be on this show, but he'll be on probably with the Crosby show. Maybe they can get him on with 9 to noon, or maybe Josh and Trevor can get him on. You know, we'll see what happens. All right, let's get to Charlie's sounds of the day.
1, 2, 3. What sound clips will Chicago Charlie pick today for Sparky? Will Sparky become enraged? Will laughter ensue? It's time for Charlie's Sound of the Day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's on The Fan.
All right, Charlie Sounds of the Day brought to you by Prize Picks. You know, I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement for football season on Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. And don't forget, download the Prize Picks app. Use code SPARKY, SPARKY, to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That is code SPARKY to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for details. Charlie, what clip are we going to first?
All right. So first up, we're going to head to the story of the day in the sports world, where Minnesota Lynx star Nafisa Collier.
They talked about this on the morning show today.
She calls out the WNBA commissioner for not doing enough about the poor officiating in the league. This is the first about minute and a half of the about 7-minute clip that she had, and she released there the statement she had.
And I want to be clear, this conversation is not about winning or losing. It's about something much bigger. The real threat to our league isn't money. It isn't ratings or even missed calls or even physical play. It's the lack of accountability from the league office. Since I've been in the league, you've heard the constant concerns about officiating, and it has now reached levels of inconsistency that plague our sport and undermine the integrity in which it operates. Whether the league cares about the health of the players is one thing, but to also not care about the product we put on the floor is truly self-sabotage. Year after year, the only thing that remains consistent is the lack of accountability from our leaders. The league has a buzzword that they've rolled out as talking points for the CBA as to why they can't pay the players what we're worth. That word is sustainability. But what's truly unsustainable is keeping a good product on the floor while allowing officials to lose control of games. Fans see it every night. Coaches, both winning and losing, point it out every night in pregame and postgame media. Yet leadership just issues fines and looks the other way. They ignore the issues that everyone inside the game is begging to be fixed. That is negligence. At Unrivaled this past February, I sat across from Kathy and asked how she planned to address the officiating issues in our league. Her response was, well, only the losers complain about the refs. I also asked how she planned to fix the fact that players like Caitlin, Angel, and Paige, who are clearly driving massive revenue for the league, are making so little for their first 4 years. Her response was, Caitlin should be grateful she makes $16 million off the court, because without the platform that the WNBA gives her, she wouldn't make anything.
I've said this before. I'm going to say it again. Y'all need to figure out who y'all are and who cares about this crap. Real. I mean, listen, the importance level of where they think they are versus where they probably really are in the reality of most sports fans' eyes is they're completely delusional, I think, at some point, as far as how big of a deal this WNBA is. Like, literally, just go walk around and ask people how many people have watched a WNBA game. Go on the mall. Next time you're in the mall, hey, when's the last time you watched a WNBA game? They don't even ask them name any players. Just when was the last time you sat down and watched a WNBA game? Good luck finding a bunch of people that say, "Oh yeah, I just watched one. I watched 5 last season," or "Oh, I'm a big Indiana Fever fan. I watched all their games. I love Caitlin." Like, probably not happening. To her being mad about what the commissioner said to her. Okay, the referee situation. She says only losers complain. That's true. That's true in any sport. The winning team doesn't complain about referees. The losing teams complain about referees. That's in every sport. That's not just the WNBA. So maybe there is an issue. Again, I'm not watching it. Maybe there is an issue and they need to work on it. Fine. But that response, while it's not exactly the most classy response and it's not exactly the most tasteful way to handle the situation, it's true. The idea of Caitlin Clark and Paige and the rest of these making money because of the WNBA platform, that also is true. For a long time, there was no pro basketball league. And when you were done in college, you were done. And there was nowhere to go play. If there is no WNBA, none of them have a platform to go do anything at this point. And it is done. Maybe you can go play international basketball, but that's not going to get you all the U.S. money and all the following and all that other stuff. So to a degree, she's right about that too. Because without the WNBA, they don't have that platform. So I get why she's mad. Did the commissioner handle it correctly? No. She had more of a bedside manner in how she was dealing with her? Yes. Did she lie? No, she didn't lie. Everything she said was pretty much on the money. It was harsh. It was over the top harsh, maybe. But she didn't lie about anything. Everything she said was true.
It feels like that. I think from the players' perspective here, it seems like they want to fight for their league. They want to fight for what they've been able to grow to this point, what Caitlin and Angel and Paige do bring to the sport, and what they've done is a big deal. They've grown a lot since when that WNBA first started, and it is due to players like that. And yes, it's not big enough to start asking for more money. And I think that you're right. The commissioner is right that there isn't really anything she can do about this, and that every sport, every loser is going to complain about this. But to what else you said, she could have gone about it better. And I think her job is to figure out how to work with the players in order to get them to take that next step and recognize that, yes, these two things are problems for this league right now. How do we go about fixing that instead of just coming to me and complaining about it? Instead, she just gets fed up with them and says, shut up, go away. I don't want to talk to you anymore. Like, this is how it is and this is how it's going to be, instead of being like, I hear what you're saying. Let's work together on fixing
the
this
bedside
together.
manner.
Exactly.
Correct. She has none. Zilch.
I don't understand how you can be a commissioner of a league like that then.
And she and her arrogance overflowing doesn't feel like she's in a danger of losing her job. Because again, how is a commissioner of a league judged, really? How much revenue is the league bringing in? Are the owners happy? If those two things are really good, this other stuff, they don't care about. They do not care. Because the owners care about how much money they're bringing in. The players care about how much money are they making. Now, you can complain and say, I should be getting more money based on the revenue we're bringing in. Okay, fine. Negotiate it in the next CBA and figure it out. And if you don't like it, go on strike like every other sport. Baseball, for instance, next year, when the season ends next year, there's a wide belief that come next December, so December of 26, that baseball will get locked out or there's a strike or however this is all going to play out. And there may not be baseball in 27. So we'll see, but that's because of what they're trying to get done with the CBA, with maybe trying to get a salary cap or whatever they're going to try and get done from an owner perspective. The WNBA players have the exact same right to strike, not play, hold out for more money, and do all of that. Now, how long can they last? How long can you last by not playing? The top of baseball, the top of football, the top of basketball, those guys are making all significantly more money than the top of the WNBA. The lower portions of MLB, NBA, and NFL, I think they're making more money than the lower portion of the WNBA too. So how long can you as a union hold yourself together before it's got to break and you've got to go back and play because everybody's got to go get regular jobs because they can't can't hold out any longer. That's the other bad position they're in. While the top Caitlin Clarks of the world can hold out forever, the middle to the bottom portion don't make enough to be able to hold out in this multiple seasons or whatever the case may be.
Well, and I don't know if Caitlin Clark can really hold out forever. She's still really young in her career and hasn't made that much in career earnings at this point. If she's not playing basketball, people don't want to give her endorsements too at that point. Things hurt her as well. And in baseball, they can go to Japan, they can go to South Korea and play in established leagues that are going to pay them money to do so.
But it's not going to be in the U.S.
No.
And we don't watch South Korean basketball in this country. No. And you're going to have those endorsements that you have tied to them is not going to be the same if they're not playing here and on TV. All right, what's clip number 2?
Next up, we're going to head over to First Things First on Fox Sports 1, where Nick Wright was discussing Shedeur Sanders choosing not to talk to reporters today about Dylan Gabriel being made the starter in Cleveland.
Oh, come on. What are we pouting about?
So this is what Nick Wright had to say about that situation.
No matter what the kid does, you guys kill him.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? He comes out and says, what do you want him to say? Of course, he didn't say anything bad about his teammate. He just said, I'm better than, some of these other guys. And you killed him. Yeah. In fact, some folks went on TV and said, shut your mouth. And now he does that. And you're going to kill him for that too.
So there's that's out there already.
I think we have to just address that directly. That's sports. That was Rex.
So Rex Ryan eviscerated him. Rex said, get your butt in the front of the classroom, kind of implied he's not doing his studying, stop talking, all this stuff. And so I do think this, here is my no fake news hat on this. This is just an opinion. Here is my guess on what happened. Somebody in Shedeur's circle was like, hey, you know what you should do next time they ask you anything? Don't say anything in a response to that. Like this exact, like they're like this, that'll be clever. And and Shedeur is so charming almost that like because of the smile or whatever, he does have like a vibe to him that makes him very likable and all of that, even when he's doing that. But it's just the worst advice imaginable. Yeah. And I feel like he has gotten bad advice for the last 9 months.
That's interesting.
And I hate it for him.
Okay. So there's a couple ways to go on this, right? You can say, good idea. Don't say something that will come back and bite you later in the locker room or with your coaches or with your owner, with your fan base. Better say nothing than get yourself in trouble. There's that perspective. I don't mind that perspective if that's the reason he's going this way. If he's pouting and mad because he's not the starter and that's the reason you're doing it, then that's bad. But if he's in the locker room supportive of Dylan Gabriel, everything else, just sick of getting burned by the media, like Nick Wright and those guys in FS1 said, all right, fine, I get down with you. Can I make a prediction? I'd like to try and make a prediction.
Sure, go for it.
They are going to give Dylan Gabriel 2 games is my prediction. Mm-hmm. They will give him this Vikings game. Mm-hmm. Good luck against Flores. And then they will give him the Steelers game against Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers, okay? If they are 0-2 in those 2 games and he doesn't show anything, Shedeur Sanders will be that quarterback. And those next 3 games are the Dolphins, Patriots, and Jets. And if they still don't have a win and Shedeur Sanders sucks, Flacco's back starting against the Ravens that next week, November 16th, and he starts out the rest of the way.
All right.
So that I think Gabriel will be given 2, Shedeur will be given 3, and then if neither one work out, he's going to go back to Flacco to finish off the season.
All right. I think that's a pretty fair prediction here for this Browns team. Dylan Gabriel didn't really show you that much in the preseason.
Correct.
Shedeur didn't really show you all that much in the preseason.
Yep.
I mean, this is just a bad situation all around for the Cleveland Browns, but what's new?
Absolutely horrible situation. Charlie Sounds today. They're brought to you by Prize Picks. Coming up next, our green and gold update. The NFC North is kind of a mess right now based on everybody. Maybe not the Lions, but the other 3 teams certainly are a mess. We'll talk about that coming up next. Plus, most important player for the Brewers this postseason. We'll get into that at 4:20. Wisconsin Sports Daily served up by Wendy's live from the Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook.